This one comic quite literally made everyone love this hated character of Gravity Falls. The Lost Legends comic, Don't Dimension It, is loved by a lot of haters because of how Mabel finally gets redeemed after being such a terribly selfish person for most of the show. I've personally been taken to burning any plushies that vaguely resemble her horrific visage. I made a video about Pacifica and her redemption she gets through the comics, but Mabel's character gets kinda no payback or even acknowledgement of her faults or flaws for pretty much the entire show. And I believe this single comic was meant to fix that. Hey freaks, MrMatter. If you could hate that subscribe button and redeem that bell to never miss an upload, I'd really appreciate it. So after the show, Mabel never gets a redemption arc for being selfish. That's the main complaint any hater this girl has. I don't think people got mad at her for making Dipper give up his lifeguard job or a single date with Wendy that he literally time traveled over and over again for. But as an ex-Mabel hater like a decade ago, there's a few things that I know peeved them off at least a little bit. She showcases being really selfish to the point of portraying her friends and boys crazy, but she does grow past that in that same episode. She pushes and locks Dipper into a closet with Wendy with a killer shape-shifting monster, but obviously she wouldn't know or believe that this was literally happening.
I thought he was just joking!
You know Dipper's jokes are terrible!
You know, just little seeds of her being stinky to her bros, which is then brought up in sock opera. The only time the show ever acknowledges this trait of Dipper giving up way more than Mabel does in enough episodes for Bill Cipher to do a little montage.
How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor?
And she even sacrifices her puppet show in the end.
Who would sacrifice everything they've worked for just for their dumb sibling?
Dipper would.
But then she gets way into the personal lives of Robbie and Tambry and the Love God, even to the point of drugging their feelings differently. It's not just that she does these things that makes haters mad, it's that she continuously makes the same mistakes against other characters. And that she doesn't get nowhere as near as crazy pushback or punishments as somebody like Dipper, especially in the finale. Like, we can get that Mabel is upset that Dipper isn't thinking of her when thinking of the future, especially when she's in such a vulnerable state, but her dream Dipper is Dippy Fresh, someone who always agrees with her no matter what, something that Dipper is very hateful towards. Brother even snaps his neck in a deleted scene.
So yeah, his fate is that he gets killed by Dipper. Now right away, this is actually really dark, especially for Gravity Falls. This is literal murder.
But in the courtroom scene, Dipper undermines his own feelings and wants so that Mabel would help her family from not dying. Ford is literally being tortured by Bill so he could go and destroy the entire universe. Like, Dipper had to go to California high school with puberty and divorcing arguing parents instead of cool Great Uncle Ford adventures. But this comic is set after all of that. So how do they fix this and make these haters happy? Well, it starts with Ford looting everyone out into the forest to seal dimensional holes because of the rift being shattered. Something that was Mabel's doing. So of course the big hole made from the event is called Mabel's fault. Stan and Ford get into a heated argument about Stan being a bad caretaker of the kids.
What? I'm the best caretaker ever! I've taught these kids valuable life lessons, like how to hotwire cop cars.
What's Dipper's real name?
Diphtholomew, I don't know.
Even I know his name, Grunkle Stan. It's one of my 20 facts in my Wild Facts video. But then Dipper and Mabel get into a heated argument as well, because Mabel brought Waddles on a mission Ford just described as a dangerous mission.
Don't you think you're being a pinch self-centered?
What? I'm the least self-centered person.
Dang, so he just straight up says it. This is all going so fast, even if it feels a little forced. But darn it, they're talking about it now. Waddles is missing. Already, just like that, it runs right next to a wormhole.
Ah, thing! I'm being grabbed by a thing!
Why'd you bring the pig, Mabel? Why'd you bring the pig? And then because of this, she goes directly into the portal that Ford and Dipper were warning her about and gets attacked by this big finger monster. And then while dodging this crazy hand monster, she gets sucked into a portal and we see this really cool art. We see a Sonic Gravity Falls. We see the dimension that Bill was in where everybody hates him now, I guess. A dimension where they're all fish. I love how that Seuss looks. He's so funny. And then a dimension that's literally just a JPEG of a cat. Like literally just a picture of a cat. But this is really cool though. It reminds me of those dimension bubbles we had in Weirdmageddon. And we saw the live action characters in the car driving.
I have so many details and fingers. Wendy, I'm a monster!
And then where she ends up at is actually really cool. It's a whole dimension full of alternate reality Mabels, where we see so many designs of them that are all over the place. So I see one that's Where's Waldo. That was my first one I saw. But look around here.
Well, actually, according to the journal, Mission Protocol, Double Robot. I heard you got dry, because you're all Please go.
Waka waka waka. But all these designs are so cool. My favorite is Table Mabel.
Table Mabel.
Something about Table Mabel really, I really enjoy. There's a Morty in the background. There's a Morty Mabel in the background. Look at that. It's a Morty Mabel in the background. Remember that. Remember that for the Rick and Morty theories. But when they're trying to come up with a name for our Mabel, which we know is obviously, main Mabel, core Mabel, because everything else is so weird and zany that this is obviously what the base character design is. When asked which Mabel she is, she says, the best Mabel, obviously. And she describes her as slightly arrogant Mabel.
Arrogant. I'm lovable.
Which also shows how they're getting into her character a bit. Though so far it's been kind of lackluster with it, but maybe they'll stick the landing later on. She says, what? I'm not arrogant, I'm lovable. Here's a joke. How many Mabels does it take to screw in a light bulb? It cuts to light bulb Mabel, who is crying because she's offended by that joke.
How many Mabels does it take to screw in a light bulb? That is extremely offensive to light bulb Mabel. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, light bulb Mabel.
She didn't even say how many it'll take, and she's already crying. We're like overly sensitive light bulb Mabel, am I right? I clap my hands to be a high five. We see that the smartest Mabel, Brain Bull, is making a dimensional escape pod so that everyone can escape, but she's too busy on her sticker collection to finish it. And Mabel's like, what? Why are you focusing on something as stupid as a sticker collection when we need to get out of here? Which is something that Mabel has been doing across the entire show. Which is, I think, another big character flaw of her is how silly she is. I don't think it's necessarily a character flaw, as it is something that does get them into trouble at times. What? I mean, I love stickers as much as the next Mabel, but what about home? I bet if we work together, we could get this puppy up and running. And then everyone gets distracted because she says puppy.
Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought when you said puppy.
Who said puppy?
Puppy? Where?
I want a fed up puppy.
Everybody here is stupider than Mabel. It's like all these Mabels got taken out in season 1. Got lost in season 1 and they came over here to this dimension, and that's what happened, because there's no way that all these people went through like a Weirdmageddon or anything like that and then they're still acting like this. And then we cut to the B plot of the comic where Ford and Grunkle Stan are looking for Mabel. And Grunkle Stan says, I have some candy for you. And then Ford says, I have some delicious vitamin supplements, 14 kinds of zinc.
Got some candy for you.
And I'll give you some delicious vitamin supplements. 14 kinds of zinc.
I don't know who I don't think even Dipper would care about that. But because of that, this continues her discussion about which of them are better caretakers. Ford knows more about Dipper, but Grunkle Stan knows more about Mabel. Though Ford makes a comeback and says that he scanned her entire molecular structure the day he came here. So...
You don't know anything about Mabel, do you?
Of course I do. I scanned her entire molecular structure the day I came here. Guess how many enzymes she has? The answer might surprise you.
As soon as he got to Gravity Falls, he scanned her entire body. He scanned all of her organs and everything.
Sorry, Mabel. I wanted to see if you had cancer. See how much I want to get attached to you or not.
Grunkle Stan does stick his head through one of the dimensional bubbles, and he casts a Lovecraftian monster.
Mabel, keep looking.
Anyone who's fluent in Lovecraftian Eldritch language, can you please translate that for me? I want to know what that says. And while Mabel is sitting down about to give up, another one comes up that looks exactly like her.
Finally, a normal one.
She seems kind of normal and says, thank goodness they haven't given me a name yet. I don't know why they think everyone needs to have one. And then Mabel says coyly, looks like you're anti-Mabel Mabel.
No, I'm just a regular Mabel, like you.
Well, that was a crazy reaction right there, but I guess she is anti-label Mabel then if she's gonna react that hard to being labeled. And anti-label Mabel, or other Mabel, I'm gonna call her from now on, has a plan that she's been working on to get out of here, but all the Mabels weren't helping her, and then we see this Grunkle Stan Mabel.
Hey! Stanbo is single and ready to mingle!
That Grunkle Stan Mabel is like very creepy.
Stanbo is single and
The voice that they do is so funny. That is actually very creepy because it's not just a creepy face or form. It's that this Stan Mabel wants to get with somebody, just like how Mabel does. She wants a boyfriend. That is very creepy because they're an old man and a small girl at the same time. And while they finalize the plan of what they're gonna do to get back home, they do the thing that Dipper does with his clone in the Double Dipper episode.
I like the way you think, Mabel.
That's because I think like you, Mabel.
You can always just disintegrate me with water.
Which plants a seed in your head that this is going to go very badly, just like that episode does. What episode of the show has somebody look just like Dipper or Mabel, and it goes good? It never really does. And then it cuts over to Stan and Ford again, really fast, really quick, and they're calling a space trucker.
Looking for the best grandniece in the multiverse. You seen her? Maybe I have, but I never let a known criminal onto my truck.
And Grunkle Stan thinks obviously this is me. He's talking about me because I'm the criminal. And they're talking about Ford because he stole a lot of parts to make his anti-dimensional gun that he didn't even end up using because he missed a shot because a fucking goofy ass Bell comes alive and just scares him for a second. It makes him miss.
I'm alive now.
But they quickly get over this because Grunkle Stan suggests that he handcuffs Ford in the back, which Grunkle Stan just has handcuffs on him, first of all. And second of all, we see 2 affinity-sided dice inside of the guy's truck, which I wonder if these are just for show, or if he rolled these, the universe could like explode or something. Or summon that wizard guy that wants to eat their brains.
I had my mom pack me a lunch. Ew, apple slices.
So there I was, surrounded by bodies. I won the war, but I lost my soul. And I was all like, what?
Oh, totally. Totally. Been there.
And then they steal that person's gun. They were just giving them war stories and then they just steal their gun and fire into the air, which is exactly what you should do with a police officer, kids. Follow all my advice. You can trust me, I'm talking on the internet. And then what this military Mabel has as a flare gun is a big fireworks show that says, "Hey boys," with a Z, which actually does get attention of the boys, the Stan twins. And then other Mabel says, "Hey, it's gonna be a long trip back. You want a bathroom break?" Which, this comic has been going by pretty fast. I don't really know how much time has passed, really. I feel like it's kind of been like a couple minutes at most. I feel like how long this video has been how long she's been here. But she says, "Good thinking, me. I'm so considerate." And then while she's in the bathroom, she puts a big lock on it and gives a villain speech because instead of regular Mabel going, it's gonna be her, other Mabel that goes into there instead of her because she's stuck in there like an idiot. What kind of Mabel are you? The exact kind of Mabel you aren't. And considering how easy it would be for me to guess this, you'll probably never figure it out. You're the exact opposite of me. You're
Anti-Mabel!
Ding, ding, ding.
Holy crap. So she was very close with the name with anti-label Mabel. She just had to call out the label and is anti-Mabel. It's funny that the one Mabel that like she enjoys is anti-Mabel. This is like a Jimmy Neutron plot. This is literally the plot of Jimmy Neutron right here.
Well, how about next time you get a board that can handle the Neutron style? Later, Nickel.
But the last thing that anti-Mabel says in her villain speech really gives a lot to her character. It says, "I was chased out of my dimension for being the most evil Mabel in the multiverse. I have no home to return to. That's why I'm going to leave with your uncles and take over your life. And there's nothing you can do about it." Mabel, no. Mabel, yes. And then the twin uncles, twinkles, if you will, are both standing at the edge of the ship just sitting there like, which one is it? There's a lot of guys here.
Oh dear.
Can't recognize your own niece? Who's the bad caretaker now?
Anti-Mabel comes up and says, "Lol, I love pigs and sweaters. I'm a goofball, wibble zibble." And Grunkle Stan goes, "That's her." It's like, when has she ever said any of those words?
I'm a goofball, wibble zibble.
That's her!
I'm a goofball, wibble zibble? Come on, Grunkle Stan. She's never said wibble zibble. And then we get this shot of Mabel inside the porter body looking out of the moon with them accepting this anti-Mabel as their Mabel.
No, this can't be happening.
And then Mabel Label tries to get every able Mabel to go help her, but none of them are stable. You got all the Mabels still just being like, oh, I'm gonna do my sticker collection. I'm Bob Ross Mabel and I'm painting a painting. I'm Cat Mabel and I'm chasing my tail. Like, they all have excuses of doing little cute things, just like how Mabel can't do anything either. I feel like all the Mabels should be petting this Cat Mabel, but maybe the Cat Mabel set her boundaries just like the light bulb Mabel, because they were freaking out about a puppy earlier.
I wanna pet a pickle.
And then Mabel snaps at all these guys and says, what's wrong with you guys? This is an important mission. You're all just being totally self-centered. Oh.
Oh, Mabel, you gotta work on yourself.
And then she gives a rousing speech, which is the most she acknowledges the selfishness or any of her wrongdoings across the show, mainly. It is in this one speech trying to rouse up all the Mabels to go and help her.
Attention, Mabels of Mabe 3L.
I used to be just like you, so caught in my own Mabelness that I neglected those around me. Heck, I caused an entire apocalypse just to get one more day of summer.
Crikey, you gotta be pulling out wallabies, mate.
I'm afraid it's true, Gadable. I'm going to be better, but in order to do that, I need to get back home. My ride is leaving, and if you help me catch us, I promise I'll never be selfish again. Now, I know it's a long shot, but does anyone have a grappling hook? And this is the main speech of this comic. This is essentially like in the Pacifica comic where they're crying inside the bag and Dipper and them are talking about how they can do better and everything, right? And I feel like this is still very selfish of her, no? And also very rushed. Help me get to my uncles and back to my family, and I won't be selfish again if you help me. And is that not a little selfish in and of itself? And I'm not saying this to hate on Mabel or the show or the writers or anything, right? But like, because of this comic being obviously stated, even since the first Dipper line, to be about Mabel being self-centered, about her neglecting those around her from what she says her own Mabelness, the entire purpose of this is still about her. And she's saying that she'll promise, which Mabel isn't the type of person that would break a promise, right? She would never break a promise intentionally. She sees promises as something big. She sees lies as something that's very mean. So she wouldn't break that promise. But in terms of anybody that hates her and thought that was such a character flaw that they never went into or tried to redeem, I feel like this is not enough for those types of people. Because what's happening is that she got punished for something that she did, and then she's apologizing for it so she can get out of it. If she did some sort of selfless act to help somebody else, that she wasn't necessarily going to get something against her for that. And I think where this misstep happened, they thought of two ideas for this comic, which is obviously the main theme, which is her learning that she's made mistakes across the past and she should learn to not be selfish, self-centered, or neglect those around her. And then the other idea they had, which is, what if there was a whole dimension of Mabels? And also there was a Grunkle Stan and Ford not being able to take care of children is another plot that's going on. And I feel like this is too stuffed up. The other comic, Pacifica, also makes a selfless act by going and helping Dipper get Mabel's face back, because she caused that, and in the end tells Dipper all these flaws, which is like this scene here, and then selflessly gives up these good looks that this demon is promising her, and instead destroys him with the pills that were supposed to give her beauty, which is so simplistic, giving up her vanity and selflessness that is affected onto her because of her parents, which all these things were happening, and I was able to do that in that comic. And you might be like, oh well, this comic is shorter, this comic doesn't have as much length. This comic is exactly the same amount of pages. Both are around 32 pages. So within this narrative, they had the time to do the exact same amount of stuff, but what they decided to do with this comic was mainly focus on this environment of the Mabels, and having like 2 pages every once in a while just to Grunkle Stan and Ford, slowly progressing to Mabel and restate that they can't take care of these kids. I hope I said this good enough so you guys understand that I don't hate this comic or hate Mabel or anything like that, because I really do think this is a fun comic, and a lot of these designs are funny. I love Table Mabel. She's great. I love Table Mabel. She's awesome. This is just for the purpose of what this video is talking about the purpose of this comic, which was a comic for the haters. And it really was. You can tell through the writing how much they wanted to help fans be on the side of Mabel. And one of the first Reddit posts I saw when I looked this comic up was about people talking about how the comic didn't really do that great. One of the problems that they have stated on the Reddit, why does she think that Weirdmageddon was her fault when so many things happened for that to happen? Like, I think people can be somewhat mad at her for being selfish with in that act, but I don't think the problem was that she did that act. I think that her problem was how she acted in the Weird McGinnon Part 2 inside of Mabel's bubble. That entire episode, she's being very self-centered. Dipper, at the end of the episode, give up the apprenticeship with Ford. It has to say that he was wrong and she is right, and they need to get out of here together, which is all him giving stuff up for her, which I feel like isn't necessarily what's happening here. In fact, she's asking all these people to go and help her, to give it up for her to get a chance to do things, which is exactly the problem throughout the show.
Don't you ever scare me like that again, pumpkin!
Look at this frame of Ford. Ford is so suspicious of this Mabel. She says, "Dear apologies, dearest uncle, I will not transgress your laws again."
Apologies, dearest uncle. I will not transgress your laws again.
Haha! Transgress! Classic Mabel!
She does not say transgress. I don't know why you thought Ziggy Wiggy or whatever she said earlier was the real her too. Transgress? But when called out on the fact that this isn't Mabel, Grunkle Stan gets very defensive, which is exactly what happened with the Grammar Stanley, where they just get really defensive with each other and it causes them to get attacked.
Something seems off about Mabel.
Oh, here we go! You're just jealous that I was able to pick her out of a crowd and you weren't!
Grammar Stanley.
Oh, Grammar Stanley!
Oh, here we go. You're just jealous I was able to pick her out in a crowd and you weren't. And then while he's saying that, anti-Mabel goes, "Great Uncle Stanford, do you have any futuristic mega weapons that I could bring home with me for educational purposes?" And then Ford pulls a gun on her, but then they add alien adhesive to the floor.
My alien adhesive!
I wanted to do this the easy way, guys. I really did. We were all going to go home as one happy family.
We're all gonna go home as one happy family. He's like, "No, you weren't, girl. Come on, stop lying. You wanted to send him out the airlock."
Dang it, Stan! You got the wrong one!
Oh, you are loving the chance to throw this in my face!
Sounds like you two need some space. Endless space!
But right before she was able to press the airlock button, a big boom happens at the side as we see the dinosaur Mabel, the 3 Mabel, the military Mabel, a fire Mabel, and the goat, the best, Mabel table. Looks like the Mabels have turned.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I love the voice that they did in that dub. Mabel table's my fucking favorite, dude. Then they have a big Mabel fight that cuts to the outside so you can't actually see what's happening. That results in the truck driver getting shot out of the thing. And then he says some sort of swear that has 7 characters in it. I don't know what that would particularly be.
Take me alive!
I'm gonna guess it's some sort of alien swear. Any alien swear experts in the comments? Tell me what that means. But in the conflict, they get military Mabel, which is so sad. She says she's gonna visit the big Mabel in the sky, and then they say, I have a picket home. Tell him he's a cute little guy, and you see this little picture of Waddles.
I have a pig at home. Tell him he's a cute little guy.
Look at that picture. This picture of military Waddles, which also means that they're also in the military in that world. And Threeble saves them. Threeble hits the airlock button, and Ford is so funny for this.
Mabel, to the rescue!
Yes! Rescued by math! Just like in my dreams!
This is dumb! All of this is dumb!
Yes, rescued by math, just like in my dreams. Like, you're such a dork. I love Ford so much. And then anti-Mabel squirts everyone on the wall.
I can't feel my legs.
No, Mabel table is on the wall too. They can't feel their table legs, which is all split apart. I feel like that would hurt. Unless she has hinges on those legs. She's like actually in pain right now. The regular Mabel hits the glue gun with the grappling hook. Somehow she was the only one not caught in the fire. And anti-Mabel goes, "I'll knock the glitter out of you, you giggling punchline. I like to see you try."
Walk up, puppy! Where?
Mabel, we just talked about this. Oh, that's what I should have said for the subscriber thing at the beginning. Make sure to punch that subscribe button. And then just like in the Shapeshifter episode, they get mixed up and Ford and Stan have to choose which one are the real ones.
They're equally adorable!
Welcome to Sweater Town!
Choking Mabel out with Sweater Town. That goes hard. Welcome to Sweater Town. That is actually so sick.
She's the imposter! Take her out! She's lying! She's evil incarnate!
Evil incarnate? Come on, you just had this scene. One of them has angry eyebrows while the other one is dying. You think you can tell which one is Mabel. Mabel would not choke out an anti-Mabel. Come on, guys. How do you not know them this bad?
Why does this always happen with doubles? There was only some way to tell them apart.
Why do they have a cat? I hate cats shirt. Why would you wear that? Why would she have an I hate cats shirt? That's so funny. And then they put in their airlock, and then while she's banging on a glass, it's literally like the shapeshifter yelling at Dipper about something specific in his life. You think you defeated me, but I am a part of you. Every selfish choice you make, that's being just like me. What do you have to say? This is for military Mabel. Oh, pfft.
This is for military Mabel.
Which is sick. But also, this is another instance of the writing being very on the nose, as usual. But I think I made my point clear earlier that this comic is very obvious and on the nose. There's no subtlety for any of the moments happening or any like realism, I guess you say, to the writing. It's all very cartoony, very comedic. I mean, look at anti-Mabel getting shot out. But also after a tiny time jump where it says "and so," we see that military Mabel is okay.
That glue sealed my wounds, soldier. Thanks for everything.
So they basically just stole this truck from that one guy that got shot in the face, and they're not going to rescue that guy, and all the Mabels are going to use it to go get back home, which is good. I hope it's more than just the 5 of them that got on the ship, and also all the other Mabels are going to help. But military Mabel is okay, even though they had a whole death scene earlier, and and of course Mabel Table.
I can't wait to see my Dipper again.
Me too.
Me three!
I'm a table.
I love Mabel Table. I love Mabel Table. Guys, put your favorite Mabels in the comments because I want to hear what your favorite Mabels is. And if it's not Mabel Table, I want an explanation. Because Mabel Table needs no explanation. Every other one needs an explanation, including our main Mabel. But as they leave, we get some conflict resolution for the Ford and Stan plot, where they say, well,
I guess we're both terrible caretakers.
Rescued by our own niece. I don't know how we'll live this down.
Maybe the reason you two can't take care of kids is that you kinda still are kids. Maybe it's time for you to take care of each other.
This whole plot with them was them deciding we need to go on a trip together to get to know each other again, which is very nice. I think that's a very nice little thing. These two didn't really need an arc to particularly fulfill, so them having this little moment is pretty good. And then they have this great scene right here.
Take that, multiverse! This is how we do it in Jersey! Pines!
That's how we do it in Jersey! Pines. That's great. I like that. Dipper, because he's been staying out here, asked her about the multiverse. And then Mabel apologizes to Dipper, which is the second apology, which she says, I am sorry for being selfish this summer. I guess it took dealing with myself to realize what you had to put up with. Haha, okay, who are you and what have you done with Mabel? I shot over Alvin Airlock. So that was her apology to Dipper, which it seems like Dipper doesn't really care, which I don't think he really ever has cared too much. Like, the only particularly with the laptop, which was he mad about her not helping out or being selfish about things. He's so rarely mad about her, like, not helping with things and being like herself that I don't think he really even cares too much about this apology. But the fact she apologizes twice indirectly to Dipper as well is pretty good. I think that adds to it. And we get Dipper's journal, which before rereading this comic, I completely forgot that this journal that Dipper gets is from a different dimensions Mabel called Maybipper. Because also, I don't like saying Maybipper. It's kind of like how Mabel came up with the name Bipper, and then that turned into a whole thing with the internet. It's one of those like, you know, like a hand across the neck. Like, no. It's time for us to start new adventures. And this time, I won't hog the spotlight. They're going back to high school in 3 days. I don't think they're going on necessarily that many adventures. He's going to write down like, today I went to school. It was kind of cool. Like, they said that every anomaly encrypted is mainly inside of Gravity Falls. So I don't know if there's going to be that much in California comparatively. So overall, this comic is kind of okay. They at least brought up the fact that like Mabel had this thing and they have her apologize and promise that she'll be different. But I guess the main problem with it is that we don't really get to see that. With the Pacifica comic, we get to see her be better and actually like hang out with them for a second, and has the ending where she defies her parents by wearing a banana peel on her head and everything, to the photo shoot that she literally went to the place to get pretty for. With the end of this comic, she just kind of says that she will. which again is the most basic thing of storytelling, of telling and not showing, where she says, no, I'm not going to be like anti-Mabel. We're going to send her through the pod. Oh no, I promise I'm going to be like this, and it's time to start new adventures, and I won't hog the spotlight this time. It's all a lot of talk, and we're never going to see this happen, which I think is another problem that people have with the show. It's like Pacifica, she at least had an arc, so we got to see a bit of her character, of her being nice to the Pines twins over the course of the show. With Mabel being like a different person in this sort of way, we're never going to see that, ever. Like, there's probably not going to be a season 3. There's not going to be really new comics. We got a Journal 3 that had Mabel in there sometime, but that was throughout the course of the show. We had the Book of Bill, which doesn't even have much of Mabel in it at all. So this entire thing, this is the latest we'll ever see Mabel within this character arc, and we don't get to enjoy her being a different person. Throughout all those episodes where Mabel was selfish or being self-centered, not listening to other people, like any of that stuff throughout the show, just like particularly Sock Opera, where they acknowledge that, and at the end she sacrifices her puppet show for Dipper and to defeat Bill Cipher. That was the middle of season 2, where the rest of the show and other stuff has happened, including the Love God episode, Wordmageddon Part 2. As a viewer, I don't particularly believe that she'll be different from now on, but it does give us other things to look at that is pretty cool. So overall, as a comic, I still think this is great. I think this is a great comic. It's so fun to read through. You get to see these characters again. You get to see all the different multi-dimensional Mabels, the references to older things in the background and in the foreground, and you get a tiny little arc from Mabel. But as something to be for the haters against the haters, I don't think this comic will do it for them. I think this comic would seem like an apology letter to them, but written with a grain of salt, because it's like, oh, we don't really believe that this character is that bad. We're just gonna say it. Problem is that this is within the same comics as the Pacifica comic. There are 2 comics within the Lost Legends canon that are literally about a character getting redeemed, and that's the main point of the comic. And this one focuses a lot on cool art and cool design, but in terms of redeeming, I feel like they blew all their load with the Pacifica comic, so then when it came to this one, they were like, I don't really know if we can do that. I do really like this joke at the end, though.
Also, if you ever see someone who looks exactly like me but hates rainbows, drown her in a river. Nothing.
Drown her in a river, Mabel? Maybe she would choke her out with Sweater Town. Drown her in a river? Holy crap.
Welcome to Sweater Town!
But that's all I want to talk about today. Click on screen whatever you want to watch next, and I'll maybe talk about a comic again. There's some other fan comics I could watch that aren't like necessarily canon, and also there are 2 other comics in this collection that I could go talk about, but they're not as emotionally driven or have a character arc like this. So I'll probably do them both in one video just so I can say I did them all. If you guys would like to see that, make sure to comment down below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one, my freaks. Bye bye.
I'm Mike, and I approve this message.